Story of Prophet YAQUB or Jacob alayhi salam. After 20 long years of waiting, Prophet Ishaq alayhi salam and his wife Rafka were blessed with twin sons named Esau and YAQUB alayhi salam. Esau grew into a strong man and he was a good hunter, but Prophet YAQUB was more intelligent and he was his father's favorite. There were frequent fights between the two brothers because Esau didn't like the fact that his father favored YAQUB over him. Esau became more and more jealous as they grew up. One day he asked Esau to go hunting and bring him some cooked meat. Esau agreed to his father's request and immediately went hunting. Rafka, his wife, heard this conversation and she ran to her son YAQUB alayhi salam and said, "Slaughter the best of your livestock and cook them as your father liked. Go and do this before your brothers return." YAQUB alayhi salam did as his mother instructed. Rafka then asked YAQUB to put on Esau's clothes. After the food was ready, YAQUB went into his father's room. The Prophet Ishaq was old and his eyesight was no longer clear. He asked, "Who are you?" "I am your son," YAQUB alayhi salam answered in a deep voice. His father then began to eat the food YAQUB had made. After finishing the meal, he blessed YAQUB alayhi salam to be a great leader for his people. After receiving the blessing, Prophet YAQUB alayhi salam left the room. Not long, Esau returned with the cooked meat and went into his father's room. "What is it, my son?" asked Prophet Ishaq alayhi salam when he heard Esau's footsteps. "I brought you the meat you like," Esau replied. Prophet Ishaq alayhi salam was confused and said, "Didn't you bring me food already? I have also blessed you." "No, I swear I didn't," Esau replied. He then knew that he had been deceived by Prophet YAQUB. He felt very angry and wanted to kill YAQUB right away. Rafka saw what had happened, so she went to Prophet YAQUB alayhi salam and ordered him to go immediately to her brother's house in the land of Haran. She asked him to stay there until Esau was no longer angry with him. With his meager profession, Prophet YAQUB alayhi salam left Hebron for the land of Haran. He traveled for days in the desert. One night he felt very tired of walking and decided to rest. He picked up the stone and placed it under his head, then went to sleep. It was then that he had an amazing dream. In his dream, he saw a ladder from heaven to earth. He saw angels going down and up the ladders. When he woke up, he tried to understand the dream. He was thinking that it was a revelation and guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Prophet YAQUB alayhi salam marked the stone with scratch. He promised that if he could reunite with his family, he would build a place of worship over there. Prophet YAQUB alayhi salam decided to continue his journey and finally arrived in the land of Haran. Arriving there, he was well received by his uncle Laban. Laban had several children, including 2 daughters. The older daughter was named Leah. She was a good-looking woman with pretty bad eyesight. Her younger sister was named Rachel, a beautiful, kind, and gentle woman. The prophet began to work for Laban. During his stay, he fell in love with Rachel. After a few months, he asked Laban to marry Rachel. Laban said, "Work for me for 7 years and I will allow you to marry my daughter." The prophet agreed to his term. Prophet YAQUB alayhi salam worked hard and made Laban prospered. After the end of the 7th year, his uncle prepared a feast for the wedding. However, Laban deceived him by marrying off his eldest daughter, Leah, instead of Rachel. Prophet YAQUB alayhi salam only found out the truth in the morning when he realized that he had been deceived by his uncle Laban and said, "You have deceived me. I am engaged to Rachel and you're marrying me to Leah." Laban replied, "It is not our tradition to marry a younger daughter before an older one, but," he added, "if you love Rachel, work for 7 more years and I will let you marry her." 7 years had passed. His marriage to Rachel had been organized. Prophet YAQUB alayhi salam was very happy to have a good wives. For his 2 daughters, Laban gave each a gift of a servant woman. Leah got the service of Zulfa, while Rachel got Bilhah. The slave of his wives were also married by Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam. When Allah gives disadvantage, He also gives advantage, and vice versa. For the ugly older sister Leah, Allah gave her the advantage of giving many children. Meanwhile, Rachel, who was beautiful, did not have any children. Her heart was very sad, especially when the two maids whom YAQUB married, Zulfa and Bilhah, also had children. Rachel continued to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She was sure that this was a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After many years passed, Allah blessed her with a very handsome son named Yusuf. Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam lived in Haran and continued to work for Laban for 20 years. His family continued to grow. Allah gave him 11 children. One day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked the Prophet to return to his country. Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam then asked his uncle Laban to let him go and visit his family. His uncle said to him, "I have been blessed because of you. Ask for whatever money you need." Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam said, "Give me each spotted and speckled goat born this year and each black lamb." But Laban commanded his son to remove the goats that were striped, spotted, or speckled, and the black lambs, lest others should be born with those traits. Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam took fresh rods of poplar and almond. He peeled streaks in them and cast them into the water for the goats to look at. The young inside their abdomens were terrified and moved, and they were born striped, spotted, or speckled. When the sheep were breeding, he set their faces toward the black sheep in Laban's flock and put the rods among them. Their lambs were born black. This was proof of Allah's power. Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam had many goats, sheep, and beasts and slaves. Laban's faces changed as if the sheep and goats had been stolen from them. The large entourage of Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam, along with his family and livestock, left the land of Haran without binding farewell. After Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam and his people had fled from his country, Laban and his people followed them. When Laban met with Prophet Yaqub, he blamed him for leaving him without his knowledge. Then they sat on a hill called Galit and made a covenant there. Prophet Yaqub would not mistreat Laban's daughter nor marry others. Neither Laban nor Prophet Yaqub would pass the hill into the other's country. They bid the other farewell as they departed, and each returning to his own country. After traveling for days in the desert, they finally arrived on Mount Sha'ir. Prophet Yaqub a.s. sent a messenger to inform the news of the arrival of Yaqub's group to his father, Prophet Ishaq a.s. The messenger met the Prophet Yaqub's brother Esau, who was riding horse with his men. Through his messenger, Prophet Yaqub asked for peace and permission to return home. His messenger returned with bad news. Esau had prepared 400 men to intercept the group. Prophet Yaqub a.s. trembled when he heard this. He prayed and asked Allah for protection. Prophet Yaqub a.s. prepared gift for his brother in the form of 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 female sheep and 20 male sheep, 30 female camels, 40 female cows and 10 male cows, 20 female donkey and 10 male donkey. Each group of similar animal was escorted by a slave. Esau asked Prophet Yaqub's messenger, "Who did this animal belong to?" Yaqub's messenger replied that all these animals belonged to Prophet Yaqub and were to be gifted to Esau. When the Prophet saw Esau coming, he bowed down to him. Esau was deeply moved by this. He ran to him and embraced him. Esau even cried when he saw his brother. "Who are these people? Who are you with?" Esau asked when he saw the women and children. "They were given to me by Allah," replied Prophet humbly. All of Yaqub's family came and bowed before Esau as a sign of respect. Esau initially refused to accept the gift, but Prophet insisted, and Esau finally accepted the gift and forgave his brother. They all started traveling back to their land, led by Esau. Esau returned to Hebron, traveling ahead of his brother because he and his entourage had to stop somewhere first. Prophet YAQUB salam and his entourage rested in a large meadow called Sukkoth or Sahur. He made a tent for himself and shelter for the animals. Meanwhile, he continued his journey to Jerusalem to look for the stone in his dream. The place had changed a lot, with settlements and crowded population scattered throughout the area. Prophet YAQUB salam had difficulty finding the help that had been marked many years ago. After a long search, finally Prophet YAQUB found the stone. The stone was in the garden of a local resident. Prophet YAQUB bought the garden for 100 sheep. The stone was a special stone. Prophet Adam salam had prayed on the stone. His own grandfather, Prophet Abraham salam, had prayed there and slaughtered kurban animals on it. So it was no coincidence that Prophet YAQUB salam experienced his prophetic dream on that stone. All of that is the destiny of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even centuries later, the stone again witnessed Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam making the stone as a foothold when Mi'raj met Allah at Sidratul Muntaha. He then built a mosque at the location of the stone as he had promised. Prophet YAQUB salam gave the name Baitul Maqdis, which means holy house. It was the second place of worship built on earth after the Kaaba in Makkah. Baitul Maqdis continued to be expanded. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this place a place of worship for YAQUB descendants. Prophet Musa bin Nun made the dome. Prophet Dawud salam built the mihrab, a place of worship, and the Prophet Solomon salam built a large and magnificent mosque in the same place. Meanwhile at home, Prophet Ishaq salam could not wait to meet his son, Prophet YAQUB salam, who he had not seen for many years. Esau told his father Ishaq that YAQUB had built settlement in several places. A few days later, Prophet YAQUB would enter the Hebron area. All the residents stood in front of their houses, all waiting for the arrival of Prophet YAQUB salam with joy. In the late afternoon, Prophet YAQUB encouraged arrived at the foot of Mount Arak. From a distance, he saw the small village where he was born, and he saw an old man with his cane standing on the door. YAQUB ran to his father and prostrated before his father. Prophet Ishaq salam grabbed his son's shoulder and hugged his son while sobbing. YAQUB's family came and introduced his children and wife to Prophet Ishaq salam. Prophet Ishaq salam died not too long after reuniting with his lost son. After the death of his father, Prophet YAQUB salam and his family settled in Hebron. His wife Rachel gave birth to her second son named Benjamin, but Rachel died in the process. She was buried in Al-Frat or Bethlehem. Year after year, many things happened in the life of Prophet YAQUB. He continued to preach the teaching of Allah and asked all his family members to move to Egypt. Prophet YAQUB salam lived there for 17 years and passed away in the age of 147. He was buried in Hebron, Palestine, along with his father, according to his last will and testament.